Hello and welcome to the world premiere of Cargo Smart Release releasing itself. It's version 0.5 with a completely rewritten dependency engine because the previous revision 0.4, which just was released a few days ago, started to become a bit clumsy, not to say unmaintainable. So the way you work with Smart Release is to just run Smart Release. By default, it does nothing and tells you all the things it would do, now including changelog generation. I took the liberty and already adjusted the changelogs so that it will let me proceed because it wants you to never fully auto-generate this. Changelog generation is non-destructive, that's why it can just run it and you don't have to be afraid. It will remove your changes. So something we see here is that because of a breaking change in git hash, it's actually something I just created out of the blue to trigger this massive re-release and unbreak git oxide as well as smart release that broke due to clap 4 now being clap beta 5. Anyway, it's all better now. So a few crates are not being released, but from there on a lot of changes happen. It tells you exactly why. Because most of these are actually for safety, so that certain constellations of consumers won't get broken by having a breaking change in git hash, for example, but only a patch change or patch release in git repository, which many would use instead. And yes, we have seen all of it. All of it is actually there. This is why Smart Release exists, to prevent this kind of breakage from happening once and for all, and to make sure changelogs look nice. What else? Oh well, Cargo Smart Release itself right now wouldn't be published because I didn't specify it to be published, but it would get a safety version bump just by changing its manifest. So for next time when you publish it, it will not publish as 4.1, but as a, well, breaking change. There's also a bunch of other tools that would not see a change in the version at all because they're never going to be published, but they will just see updates to their manifest because some of their dependencies are changed, like Git repository in this case. And that's it. So here it tells you basically, say execute and off you go, and you will see a bunch of changelogs in preview. Also something I want is I want to publish git oxide and cargo smart release. So let's run this once again. So we see now it just added smart release to the list. Not much more changed here. All right, then off you go. I obviously didn't execute that before. Now is the big moment. The past 4 days of relentless working result in what you see now. And there we go. So a lot of text we didn't see here. Now we use bet to preview one of 17 changelogs here. As I said, I had prepared these already. So previously there was an unreleased here. Now it fills in the actual release information, the date, and the version number. Should be able to go through here pretty fast because most of them are not really having changes, but they're breaking because of some breaking dependency, git hash in this case. Keep going faster, faster. I try to find the ones that are interesting, smart release and git oxides, the ones I'm actually interested in. Let's see, git oxide core, getting there. Now we have changelogs. That's for the top level crate git oxide itself. Here I wrote what I wanted to write. As I said, non-destructive changelog editing, but the commit statistics and commit details are completely updated automatically. So this upgrade to clap 3 beta 5. That's the only real change happening here, which also fixes the build for those who want to install it from crates.io. Cargo Smart Release, of course, had the same problem, but saw many more breaking changes and bug fixes here. A lot changed, but overall, I think it got much more usable because it was never really quite there, or I could always kind of break it. Now I couldn't break it anymore, so that's great. And we have complex publishes happening once I hit Q here. 3, 2, 1, and go. 17 to go. So what happens now? Well, in dependency order, so leaves first, it will publish the crates. These issues here, we expect to see them because Cargo doesn't really catch up fast enough after publish happened. So Cargo Smart Release will do no more but to retry. Sometimes retrying is necessary, sometimes it is. Usually it doesn't have to retry more than 3 times. Maybe there are better ways. Maybe one day we'll find it. For now, that's good enough because all these crates obviously are interconnected, interlinked. Maybe increase the font size a little bit. One failure. Nothing to be upset about. There were times when I hated to see this because it would happen all the time and I had to manually go in and fix it, and it was just a mess. Like 2 hours per release it would take me, and it was so much cognitive load, and I would not have change logs and no releases on GitHub, none of that. And now I've got everything. And you could have too, of course. You can just say cargo install cargo smart release and do what I do. It should be self-explanatory. And it should tell you what it wants you to do, which flags to use. It really tries to help you all the way and actually, not require much intervention. And if it does, it will tell you. We had git ODB here, so working up the dependency tree, git packet line. Soon when we had git repository, I think we will soon be done. All right. Part of me always gets a little heart attack here when this error shows, but it's not an error of git cargo smart release. It's an error in publishing because some dependency wasn't yet visible locally. And there we go again. It isn't pretty, these errors, so just to not have to see them, I think I would try to somehow fetch the index myself. And at Page, one of the maintainers of Cargo Release and many more, he can sing a song about that issue. There's a lot of things they tried with Cargo Release, and I don't know if it really, really works now, what they have implemented. If so, that would be great. I could just use that too. But yeah, one fine day. I hope one day Cargo Smart Release will see 1.0. I think all that I would need for that is to use clap 3, no beta version anymore, even though now that this should permanently work, beta of clap 3 isn't the end of the world. I'd love to not have git 2 in the dependency graph, which right now comes in using because of the crates index crate, which is in turn used to, check the latest published version, because Cargo Smart Release also automatically figures out which versions to bump to, right? So it checks your commit history, it understands that, and by that it derives the version bump necessary. So it's all automatic. You don't have to do anything yourself anymore except for adjusting the change logs. And from time to time, my recommendation, put in some git conventional message, because that will immediately be placed into your change log and will populate it with a scaffolding that you can later use to have a pretty change log. Because usually change log from commit messages is not that great unless you are incredibly disciplined, which I am simply not. Besides that, many things you just can't do with fully generated messages, having handwritten text as preamble or something. Now we had Git Oxide. Git Oxide was just published, and now it's Cargo Smart Release, and with that, the publishing part is done, which means that we will create a bunch of tags that also create the changelog or the changelog section. Oh no. Yeah, so that can happen. This is exactly because I'm not in the right build environment, and because of this, Cargo Smart Release will not work now, and all my changelogs will probably also not be pushed to GitHub. That's very sad. OpenSSL can't be found. I recently changed to Nix, and that means that whenever I'm in a Z shell, certain libraries can't be found unless I'm in the right environment. So now I tried 3 times essentially and gave up, because of course it doesn't know that this is a permanent build error, not just an intermediate one, which is probably one of the advantages of the way that disadvantages of what Cargo Smart Release currently is doing. So let's have a look. So every crate that successfully was published will not be published again. So if you run Cargo Smart Release here, it will tell you Git Oxide has no change, nothing will be done. Cargo Smart Release would try to publish it. So if I get into my Nix environment here and just try that again, Cargo Smart Release, Cargo Smart Release, and then we go with execute, it should just continue this time. Yes, please. And changelog editing by hand. What? Okay. It told me that before, but the fun thing is, or not so fun thing, I of course already edited that. So let's see if I can quickly see why it thinks that, or I found a bug. Maybe it's because of this, because it's obviously hand edited, and that should not be a problem. All right, let's change this to unreleased just to see if that makes a difference. All right, and let's try that again. Now it runs. Interesting. All right, that was a bit of a bummer, but apparently there's always something to do. And another try. So now, unfortunately, the only thing you will see is that one changelog is created on, or one release log is created on GitHub, which is a major new feature. One is better than none, I suppose. Let's wait for that. So once the publish goes through, it will finally push the tag in question. Now it won't have pushed the tags that all the previous tags in the previous publishing, unfortunately. So maybe that's also something that can be improved, that it pushes as much as possible. Now it use the GitHub command line tool to create the release, which is at least something we can look at now. Let's have a look here. That's it, 12 seconds ago. And it's exactly what you would expect. That's what we saw locally. All the links are there as well. And we can even take a look at this here in our repository, because we have the same thing. So Cargo Smart Release v0.5. I don't know why it doesn't autocomplete this, because that should be the tag name, right? Looks like it. I don't know. Let's try again.
Good afternoon, Gaia. Hello. Oh, sorry, I didn't connect my AirPod.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. How are you?
Things should be fine, but one more reason to get rid of Git 2 in the dependency chain, I suppose. Thanks for watching and have a good day.